All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Logan Legacy, and you are watching the 5th episode, congratulations, of Quant Chronicles. Yes! So, on this episode, we are going to be touching on just a few things. I have read, as of last video, I mentioned that I was going to read 77 pages a day of the C++ for Beginners book that I recommended in my last video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. So anyways, we started reading the book today. It's 541 pages. I divided that by 7. That is 77 pages every single day that I have to read. And we got to page 22 today. And the reason is, well, there's a few reasons. So mainly, I couldn't really fit more on the board, and I really wanted to touch on everything that I was learning and highlight it on the whiteboard. And also another reason is because currently I have a MacBook and I have an old Windows computer in, well, it's not really that old, but it's in storage essentially, and we have to whip that thing out, get it ready before we really progress with the book. I can obviously read things, but as far as like actually participating in some of the code based practices in the book, we still have to wait. And obviously there's, ways around that. But if you know of a good, website GUI that we can do, pretty much compile code on in a web browser, please link that below. I know there's a few options. Just really don't want to break my MacBook as of right now. But the Windows machine that I have that's old, whatever, we can break it. It's not a big deal. So anyways, let's go over some of the few things that I've learned in today's episode. So essentially, we're going to be covering just a few things in this book, and also pause before you really take away anything that I have to say, because I am actually learning. If you didn't know this, I'm learning everything from zero to hero, getting a quant internship in 1 year. That is our goal, and we will actually make this happen. I'm super determined about it. I know a lot of you are like, wow, this kid is shooting for the stars, but even if we shoot for the stars and we land on the clouds, we still will make extreme progress in the quant world. And yeah, there's still a lot of things that we're learning, but as of right now, we are shooting for that quant internship within 1 year, November 2026, mid-November 2026, we will have a quant internship somewhere. Hopefully Miami or New York. We're gonna skip Chicago. But yeah, so let's touch on what we've learned so far. So 77 pages a day for 1 week. We're on page 22. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to read another 50 some odd pages and maybe make a second video of today, or maybe just wait until tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so I haven't actually started coding as of yet, but that's totally okay. So what is C++? So C++, actually in the beginning of this book, talks about like the history of C++. It goes way back, it's super old, and it's the mother of all computer programming languages, and yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, that's why we're learning C++. Plus also everything on, like every quant firm literally uses C++. It's pretty much like like we all use it, So I think that would be a great first programming language for me. Instead of getting into Python, which we will get into Python at some point on this channel, but as of right now, we want to go ahead and just learn as much as we possibly can about C++ and become masters at C++ before we go with any other language. So that's the best advice I've gotten so far. Also, shout out to Big Homie A that works at MIT as a big, I don't even actually really want to tell him his title, but old high school friend of mine actually recommended me to watch all of Coding Jesus's videos. And one thing, I'll just tell you this real quick before we jump into this. One thing that I've learned from Coding Jesus within watching him for the last day or so religiously, praise Jesus, is that he actually just did the same method that I'm doing. He read a bunch of books, and then within 3 months, like the first month, he just read like 80%, 90% of the books. And then month 2, he started slowly introducing LeetCode. And then closer to that like the end of the 3 months, he was hardly reading books and he was just doing straight up LeetCode code every single day. And I think that's probably the best way to really tackle this and learn C++ most efficiently. So anyways, yeah, that's really cool. In the beginning of this book, talks about the history of C++. That's awesome. And the first main note that we got to in this beginner's guide of C++ is object-oriented programming. Now, what exactly is that? Is my mic on? Okay, yes, it is. So what actually is that? It composes of three main things in the C++ language. It's encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Now, encapsulation binds together code, and then the data, it binds together code, and the data it manipulates. So what does that exactly mean? Well, to answer that question, I feel like we'll discover that in due time. It essentially just means that it binds together code and it manipulates it. Polymorphism is Greek. It's Greek for many forms, and polymorphism is actually the quality that allows one interface to access a general class of actions. So pretty straightforward, okay? Now, what is inheritance? Inheritance is the process by which one object can acquire the properties of another object. So makes pretty simple sense, yeah. So, and obviously as we start coding, these concepts and more general ideas will really start to solidify. So we will definitely be understanding this a whole lot more on a deeper level as we start coding. This is more like the philosophical reasons of doing C++, which it's kind of like going up to a toddler and being like, what's the meaning of life? And, it's like the toddler's like, food, and it's like, well, yeah, that's one part, it's like, it's a philosophical kind of way to understand these things. So that's the best way I can kind of explain it as of right now. And pause, I just want to take a moment to say, I'm actually learning all this right now. I mean, I have a little bit of coding experience, from high school, like Dreamweaver and CSS, cascading styling sheets, all that cool stuff. But we're actually learning this all like right now, and I'm learning it and also teaching it at the same time. So obviously I'm going to be wrong about some stuff. And if you are like a coding wizard, a senior developer or anything like that, please comment down below if I'm wrong, or, if I'm right. Also, please comment. I would love to know. So yeah, now let's get into the next thing, which is variables. What is a variable? A variable is a named memory location that can be assigned a value. Super simple, right? So you just say, hey, this thing equals this thing. Super simple. So this apple equals red. So anytime I say red, apple. Anytime I say apple, red, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so variable is a named memory location that can be assigned a value. Super simple. Count. Now we're going to talk about count. Count, or C-O-U-T is the correct way that I have it on here, is a predefined identifier that is linked to the console unit. And then we have sin, which is the console input. The best way I can explain this, or the way that I understand this right now, is kind of like username, password, essentially. Or like, where the computer's like, hey, enter in the square footage, which is a good example of what they have on the book. Actually, they say, example for a COUT would be, the length, like please enter. It would be like the computer or like the front end of a website being like, please enter the length and the width of your apartment. And then you enter those two lengths and width, like on the front end, there's no coding involved. You just enter that in and it registers as a count. And then sin, C-I-N, actually is the console input, and that actually reads the user's response. So essentially the best way I can explain this is there's a front end, there's a back end. You enter some stuff on the front end, that's count, and then on the back end it pretty much gives a console input, and yeah, that's pretty much as basic as I can explain it. So yeah, I mean, there's a few different ways, like a C++ an input operator. we have these brackets. So these brackets are, just super simple. And then sin is linked to the keyboard by default. And then forward slash or back, I think that's a forward slash, in is the new line character. I'm actually going to find out if that's forward or backwards slash. And then, so that's pretty much some questions and answers that I have written down. And then variables. Variable, VAR, equals a variable that receives an input. So pretty much that's where we're at right now. My mind is still understanding these advanced C++ topics, but I swear the more and more I read, the easier and easier it gets. And that's what Coding Jesus essentially said. He said, look, you're gonna read this stuff for 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And after that time period, your brain is gonna start to turn to mush, but that's okay. He's like, just keep reading. It's gonna make more sense as you read. And then eventually your brain's gonna be so mush, you've read too much, where the only thing that you could do next is just practice some LeetCode problems. So that's what we're gonna be doing next. And we're on page 22 right now out of 541. So I'm gonna read another 50 pages by the end of tonight and essentially report back. I don't think I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. There's no video today. I'm at the office. I'm whooped, I'm exhausted. We worked a full day today as well. So so we are a little pooped on the energy, and it took me everything to just read these 20 pages. But I definitely wanted to push out this video today, even though it might not be completely like a professor's guide or the best thing to completely understand. I just wanted to push it out. So that's the main thing. Anyways, guys, please leave a comment down below on where we should put the Quant Chronicles community. If you want it to go on Slack, Facebook, Discord, I don't care. Telegram, it doesn't matter. Wherever you guys are more comfortable with, I'm comfortable with it too, and I want to double down and make something awesome. Also, if you are brand new to programming and you want to learn C++, this is like you're watching this video like maybe a day or two after it's posted, or maybe you're watching it like right now as it's posted, please get in contact. Let's start something. And again, comment down below where you want the community to be. Let's do it. Until next time, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. Peace.